Welcome back.
Oh, hey, it's good to be back. Thank you. So, ran downstairs to do the water sprinkler. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I just got back about 4 seconds ago, so
Yeah,
good timing.
thank you. Playing a Heroes of the Storm match, recording it, but because as usual, like, the half of a match I wasn't recording, I, soloed this Zeratul with my Uther so awesomely that I didn't even believe it. So, in fact, I wasn't even trying to kill him. It was just like muscle memory. And then he's like chasing me down trying to murder me. And all of a sudden he just blows up. And then I was like, of course, I'm not recording. And so I was recording. And then I tried to do it again. And the same way I did it the time before, didn't go off. And he killed me. And then I tried to do it again. And he chickened out. And I'm like, but he killed me the last time. Why would he chicken out? This is really weird.
He's a chicken shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Oh, it's John Stillhard. Oh my god. John.
John.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because all the pub Johns are girls, but John Extra Hard, I'm pretty sure, is a guy.
I don't know. It could be a girl trying to overcompensate so she doesn't get annoyed and bothered by everybody.
Well, I mean the characters.
Oh, gotcha.
Our question of the day, which I'll probably try to write down,
Sure.
which is kind of like a general or not, kind of a general question that you can ask is, how do you deal with a New Yorker?
You don't.
Yes. But my more specific question relates to us, which I just got to listen to my parents argue with. Actually, he's not even a New Yorker, but my dad said he was getting New Yorkie on him or something.
Yeah.
New Yorkish on him. But he's actually from Chicago, but, close enough.
He's getting New Yorkshire Terrier
That's
on
still
him.
pretty bad. So, obviously we have a place in Maui that we rent out, and the last guy that stayed there, oh fuck, it's 43, son of a bitch. The last guy that stayed there said that he was going to close the windows and windows and doors and stuff, and turn the AC on because the next guy was going to come in like half an hour or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, that's fine. And the next guy gets there, and he's like, the doors were closed, the windows were closed, the AC was off.
Oh no.
Hot as shit in there. I was dying, burning up. I couldn't handle it. Oh my god. And so my dad, I think he calls my dad actually. And I think there was a guy that came out to inspect the place, like somewhere between that last guy leaving and allegedly turning on the AC. The next guy getting there. Allegedly, there was a fixer guy going in there somewhere, but he never contacted us. And so the guy says, yeah, it was hot as shit. I think he said AC wasn't working, and opening the windows wasn't cooling it off, and blah 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 blah. He was dying. He was having a terrible time. It was like 4 days in. Oh my god, blah. And Dad said, it was funny because I think he monologued for a few minutes until my dad just had to stop him.
That's what you do. You let them wear themselves out.
Yeah. Well, so he says, so yeah, it was 4 days in, and he's going to stay another 5 days if he decides to actually stay. But, so he he said he was going on a complaining bitching fest, and he's like, I don't want to argue with you, but this is blah 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 blah, and my dad like as soon as he hears I don't want to argue with you,
Oh, yeah.
something just clicked, and he's like, oh shit, he wants to argue. All right,
Yeah,
arguing face on. And
Exactly.
and so he says, I think he starts it with, which is somewhat bad, but actually, if you think about it, good. He says, if we have never had an unhappy customer, which I actually had to think about for a minute. I think he just wanted to say that. I think we have had like one unhappy New Yorker, but for the most part, they all do like it. I mean, it's Hawaii. You can't fuck up Hawaii. And so he says, we have never had an unhappy customer, and we don't want an unhappy customer. You don't want to be there. We'll give you a full refund right now, and you can leave. And the guy's like, no, I wasn't actually gonna leave. It's a beautiful place, we like it here, but it's hot, and
Hawaii
the AC
is
doesn't
hot.
work.
I guess that's our new thing to say.
Yeah,
Hawaii is hot. Well, yeah, okay.
It's funny. That's exactly what my mom said. It's like it's a freaking island. It's Hawaii. What the fuck do you expect? She didn't say that, but that's how she sounded. And my dad sounded like, well, go fly a kite. So, a lot of people were flying kite today. But yeah, so he said, we'll give you a full refund right now and you can leave. And he's like, no, I don't want a full refund. No, this is a beautiful place. And so I thought about that, and I thought, well, giving him a full refund right then, it's a little bit counterintuitive or productive.
No,
or
actually,
something.
it's the opposite.
But yeah, and it's actually very strategic.
It's a genius.
Because, yeah, because well, it's kind of a bluff.
Right.
Not exactly. I stayed there 4 days. Yeah, and so because obviously I guess it was pretty clear to my dad, since I couldn't hear it, I wasn't quite sure how the guy felt, but I think it was pretty clear to my dad he didn't want to actually leave, and so my dad said, well, we'll give you a full refund right now, and he's like, no, and that kind of makes it where
him.
that, and you can't ask for a refund later, which is what we almost had a little while ago, where the guy waited until after he was done and then gave us a bitch fest and then said,
is that New Yorker guy?
My mom was like, he was, and mom said she thought he was so close to saying, I want a full refund, because he said something like, that was so terrible, I'm gonna blast you guys on
Yelp
or whatever the hell. And my mom's like, oh, just say but, or just say unless, just say it, because she thought he was gonna say unless you give me a full refund, and then she's like, oh, we're gonna sue you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can ask for a full refund in court.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because what's that called? Extortion.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, that's a federal offense.
Well, here's the other thing too, is like you can say, oh yeah, you can sue us, but you realize that in the contract you signed that you have to sue us in our state.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
And hopefully your parents have that. I forgot. But hopefully your parents have that written in.
Yeah. I probably can't even actually go through and check that. Maybe later I'll get me and my wife to buy it or something, and we'll get a contract, and I'll actually get to look through it for the first time in my life. But
you should ask them. Contract reviews are fun. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. Yeah, I know. And yeah, it's a good idea.
It's good practice.
At some point when we're not busy. Yeah. Especially since we're getting sued.
Gonna sue
which
you.
I'm not quite sure how that's going, but I think it's going fairly good-ish, somewhat.
The realtor wants
to go through all kinds. We get to go through all kinds of fun contract and legal stuff and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's Paul So, so yeah, that'd probably be a good thing, especially if they decide to sue us, which they definitely won't. These guys are freaking chicken shits. But
Yes.
they 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 would be too chicken to say something bad about us on Yelp.
Yeah.
They're not about to sue us, but those New Yorkers, I thought they actually might attempt, but even they would fail because no. But it, yeah. So I was mentioning that as one of our PvP pop questions of the day is, how do you deal with a pissed New Yorker in your condo 4 days into him staying there, 4 out of 5,
Well,
or 4 to 9 days him staying there.
well, that's a risk because it's not just New Yorkers. It's or New Jerseyans. It's really anybody, and the reason is like what happens if they're trashing the place. I mean, I assume you'd just call the cops, but you might not even have the power to do that. So you'd have to look up and see what powers somebody has when they have such really super short term, couple day contracts. You'd have to see what your rights are, because you need to know how far you can push. You don't want to bluff if you're at their mercy, because they could burn the place down, right? Which is why you ideally want to record all your phone calls and everything. So if they say, well, I'm going to burn this fucker down, and you're like, okay, can you just say your name first? Like, I, such and such and such, and address such and social security number such and such, do hereby declare that I am so mad at you. And then you're like, okay, thank you. All right, what else did you have to say? Wait a minute. No. Go ahead. So, yeah, you have to figure out what your rights are. And some of it probably has to do with Hawaii law. Because there's probably all kinds of documentation and stuff that had to be there for the house to officially be rentable, and taxes and all kinds of other shenanigans. Usually the perpetrator is always right until proven wrong. So yeah, I mean, they could steal the place dry. But again, what I would do first and foremost is you guys got to get remotes for things in that house. You should know when the doors open, when the doors close. You should know when the AC's on, when the AC's off. And that way, if they don't turn the AC off, at least until you get even better remotes, you can bill them if they leave the AC on. And say, look, we're going to be billing you guys if you leave it on until we can get a maintenance person off. And by the way, it might take a couple days. We're going to be billing you for all that. And if you have, this would be another thing, part of your guys' contract. But if you keep a credit card of theirs on hold, which you're totally allowed to do, hotels do it, for example, and car rental places, you could keep their card on hold, and then whatever they do to you could just come out of that. Or when they send you the info, you could get a bank routing number, so you could do a credit check on them. I don't know if your parents go into that much detail, but you might want to think about that.
Yeah.
Because it's all about protecting your assets. And I was just talking to some stuff earlier, talking to some people YouTube thing. Hawaii is still the #1 most expensive quote unquote United State, whatever, it's still the most expensive. So, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't be doing everything possible to protect that place.
Yeah.
That's legally in your power to protect that place. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would start with remotes after doing the contract reviews. But see, I mean, theoretically, you know, that house is going to be either yours or your brother's or both's someday, and so you might as well start taking an interest in how the contracts are written.
More likely, actually, my parents are gonna live there after me and my brother go to college.
I mean, I know you don't want to think about it, but I'm talking about someday.
Oh, right. Yeah, that someday.
We
Yeah, it's
bequeath
possible.
onto little Estinio the Maui house. We bequeath unto Big Brother Estinio the Ferrari.
Yeah, that's a long ass way away though. I'm imagining like within the next 10 years, 20 years or so, and that'll still be my parents.
But even then,
They'll be living there.
if they're gonna eventually move into the place, which is great, they might see that then as just a future investment for them. I mean, if you have all those remotes and security systems and everything, you know when they come, you know when they go. You can have a camera at the front door, so you can verify that the person that came in is the person that is on your lease. You could tell if they had a fucking party with 100 people in case it got trashed. And you don't have to be necessarily invading their privacy. You know, having cameras on the outside,
Yeah.
there's no implication of privacy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I know how they can sneak by that, but I was gonna say, well, never mind. You just put one on the balcony. Because
totally.
we've had people try to come in the balcony side or something weird shit. And we're like, nope, no. It's a big no.
Yeah, and if you had a camera, you'd know. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd probably know in the beginning.
I think that was one of the times we were there, though. I think they were like trying to talk to us, and they're getting like closer and closer to that balcony side.
Gotcha.
Freaking weirdos.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know you don't want to get super involved in this stuff, or maybe you feel like it's not your place, but there's a lot of things you can do, because take it from me, like dealing with New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, I basically, if I find out that they're a New Yorker or New Jerseyan, if they're not from upstate, if they're from like the central city part, I just fucking hang the phone up. And then I find somebody else to talk to them. Usually females, although sometimes they can be really disrespectful to the
That's
ladies
true.
also. So, I mean, they have, and the thing is, like, they are the crown royal freaking princes of entitlement. They think they are God's gift to everything. Because it's not pride, it's something immeasurably insane about their attitude. And, now, everybody else over on the East Coast kind of could come off like that, but really the rest of them are just kind of just a little blunt, that's all. But Jersey and like we just got destroyed. And then just, you know, New York, the central town, the city in Manhattan and stuff. Those people are just such huge assholes. I won't deal with them. But that's why you get, you know, copies of their driver's license. That's why you get a routing. Do a background check. Make sure they're not a freaking escaped convict, like um, like on, escape from prison or something using like a hideout, or they could be a violent criminal. I mean, you don't, and I'm not saying that all people are bad because they're not, but every time you accept a new renter, you're statistically, exponentially increased, because if you don't get the money up front, or if you don't check their credit, they might not have any money, which means even if you try to take them to court, they don't have any assets, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think